Hey, everybody, and welcome to Plan Your Greatness. And I am your gracious host, Carlton Hamilton. And let's get started today. Today is Motivational Mondays. Yes, it is. And I've got a question for you. Are you operating out of your memory or out of your imagination? We're going to discuss that here on Motivational Mondays on the Plan Your Greatness channel. Hey, we are back. We are here on Motivational Mondays on the Plan Your Greatness channel. And this week, we're starting off the week by asking the question here on Motivational Mondays, are you operating from your memory or your imagination? Now, this question came to me as I was watching an interview of one of the sports talk show hosts that I listened to. I just happened to be going through YouTube and I saw an interview, and this interview really got into his background, which I had no idea he came from it. But I always knew as I was listening to him that he had some sort of trouble in his background. But this interview kind of revealed that, and what it did to me, or what it did for me, it revealed that he's got some things in his past, in his memory, that are forever there, and it drives him. He actually uses those things, or has used those things, those memories about his past, to make himself successful. And that's why I asked the question, are you operating out of your memory or your imagination? Now, in most cases, it's better to operate from your imagination, because that is the unknown. That is the possibilities of anything that you could accomplish in your life. And so it's really always better to operate in that space. But I say this and I pose this question. If you are going to operate out of your memory, there's got to be a way, and very specific, in how you're doing that. And Colin, this guy, it's the Colin Cowherd show. He specifically has used, because they mentioned that his parents got divorced, but his father was married and divorced 5 times. His mother was married and divorced 3 times. So all that juggling around and moving and all that stuff, that can really mess with you. And so he talks about that, on how he's utilized that to be successful in what he does. Now, the other person that comes to mind, let me see, do I have the stats right here? Yeah. The other person that comes to mind is Tom Brady. Now, everybody sees Tom Brady as being arguably the greatest football player to ever play. But let me give you some stats, because he, at the age of 42, you can tell he's still driven by people doubting him. And he has a history of being doubted in high school, being doubted in college, and being doubted at the professional level. And it appears that he has never forgotten that. But again, if he goes back and looks at his memory, this is what probably Tom Brady's going to find out. Tom Brady has been in the league as a starting quarterback since 2018. His teams has won, out of 17 years, his teams have won 16 division titles. They've been to the AFC Championship game 13 times. That's the game that you play to get to the Super Bowl. So he's 9-4. So he's been to the Super Bowl 9 times. He's won 6 Super Bowls and lost 3. So he's won more division titles. He's won more AFC championships. He's been to the Super Bowl more times than anybody. But I guarantee Tom Brady will tell you what bothers him is the fact that they didn't win 17 out of 17 division titles. That they've been to the AFC championship 13 times, that they didn't win all 13 times. That they've been to the Super Bowl 9 times and they haven't won all 9 times. Okay. But now here's what separates him is that he keeps getting better every single year. So if he goes back and looks at old tape and old games, he's taking information from his memory and he's applying it to make himself better now. And I say that because many of us go back in our memory, and what we'll do, we'll bring up all our mistakes, shortcomings, failures, all these things that didn't work, and then we get stuck right in there and don't move forward. We don't utilize those opportunities going back in our memory as reflection, for motivation, and then to take action. One of the things that I've come to understand is that when we go back in our memory, we're going to look at every scenario and it's going to do something for us. And what that is, it's going to give us a feeling. Because when I go back and look at because you can see behind me, you can see my degree back there. You can see a picture of me, and then there's more stuff in I call this the creative studio. There's a bunch of things that show you all my greatest accomplishments. But there's also some pictures and stuff that show when I was in prison. And anytime I look at those things, they conjure up a feeling. Now, what's key is that, like with Tom Brady or with Colin or with myself, is that when you go back there, whatever feeling that is, it's going to be powerful. But what are you going to do with it? Is it going to allow you to reflect? Is it going to get you motivated? Then are you going to take some action? Because if you don't do that, then it serves no purpose going back to your memory. So then I ask the question again, are you operating from that memory, or are you operating from your imagination? Now, let me share something with you. When I went to prison, that was a pivotal moment to where I was looking at my past, and it literally brought me to tears, because I could look at all the great things I did, but because one of those decisions landed me in prison, that decision triggered me looking at every other bad decision. And so I would look at that and I was like, oh my God, I said, my life is over. I'm worthless, nothing. But something within me said, okay, well, let's see what you can do. Let's reflect on what you did. Let's see how that can motivate us. And then let's take some action. And so at that point, I began to stop looking in the rearview mirror and saying, this is the end of the road. And I began to look forward through the windshield and say, okay, where am I going? And once I turned that corner, I stopped telling a different story. I started creating my own story. I mean, I created a whole new mindset, a whole new frequency, a whole new vibration, an absolute whole new belief system. And that belief system, again, created another story. And I start telling the story that I was in charge of. And so if you're thinking about that, if you're operating in your memory, it can only tell one story. Well, literally it can. You can pick and choose pieces out of it and have it design a different story. But what happens with most people is when they go back there, they allow that past to tell one story. So I go back there and say the past is going to tell this story, but I'm going to extract things from that story and use them. But then when you go forward, your imagination can tell any story that you wanted to tell. And so when you're in that position of getting out of your memory and start stepping into your imagination and start designing a different story, creating something, just whatever you wanted to create, you are absolutely 100% planning your greatness. All right. Make sure you are hitting the like button. Oh, almost forgot. Our call to action. Our call to action is what I want you to do is I want you to look back at your memories, and I want you to then close your eyes, get still, and ask yourself, what story does my memory tell? And then listen to that story. Now, if it's a story of like limitations and things that you can't do, or you're focusing on all your failures, then you know good and well that you need to either take that and say, how can I build from it, or get out of your memory altogether and focus more on your imagination. But ask yourself, what story are you telling from your memory? That's going to give you an idea of really why you're in the position you're in right now. All right. So make sure you are hitting the share button, the like button, the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, because it lets you know when I'm either going live or when the next video is coming out. We're also on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and all those things feed into my Facebook page. All right. I'm going to leave you with what I leave you with every single day. of every single week on Plan Your Greatness. And that is plan your greatness. You know why? Because no one else will. I'll see you all next Monday on the Plan Your Greatness channel here on Motivational Mondays. Until then, you guys take care, and I'll see you then.